Okay, old school travelers, we're gonna talk about another city I visited and I really enjoyed it. And I lived there about 30, 40 years ago. Augsburg, Germany. Augsburg, Germany. I'm gonna tell you, I'm kind of biased because I like Germany in general. But in Augsburg, we had great food, and we flew from IAD Dallas to Munich, and we had a direct flight, and it cost us about $1,100 for business class each way. I'm sorry, round trip. About $1,100 round trip. We stayed at a gas house. They still have those there, and we really enjoyed ourselves. And we did a lot of walking around Augsburg. I'm talking about a lot of walking. And Augsburg has changed over the 40 years, which is great. Everybody should change. Every city should change. Every state should change. Every country should change. There's no way you can. There's no way that you can continue on the same path. You always got to work to make things better. So we stayed at the Opera House, and we paid about $105 a night. Maybe it was like 98 euros. And we stayed for 2 weeks. So we ate a lot of food, all of it out, and we spent on average probably about $100 a day per person, and that includes a couple of beers, with your meal and stuff. But the biggest expense came at dinner time because I like to eat good, and so do everybody I was with. So I'm saying that because I'm not a budget traveler. I'm a traveler. There are times when I'm going to spend a lot less than I have budgeted, and there are times I don't have a budget. But I want you to go out and enjoy yourself. Some people want you to go and live in Thailand for a month on $50 a day. That's not me. If you're looking for that kind of video, this is not it. I'm going to tell you about the things I saw, the things I enjoyed, and sometimes they cost to pay the piper. It is what it is. But that's just me. I have a yearly budget, and when that budget taps out at the year, okay, I'm done traveling for that year. But it doesn't mean I'm done traveling, because I like to see things I want to see. And see, Augsburg, one of the things I went there for was to go to Stuttgart. Now, Augsburg is about 60 miles west of Munich. And like I said, I flew into Munich, I rented a car, and the rental car was about $50 a day. And I rented from SIXT. I rented from them. And it was a very, very good deal because I had a nice BMW. They got great gas mileage and got great gas mileage. So I was in that boat. And now gas is gonna cost you more in Europe than it costs in the States, but I really didn't care about it because I was getting about 35, 40 miles to a gallon of gas on a BMW 540. So it was one of the things that I enjoyed. Now, as far as there are things to do, if you're in Augsburg, you can go almost anywhere in Europe in 3 hours. Almost anywhere. I said almost. You drive south, you drive east, you drive west. Well, you're still in Germany, but not Germany, West Germany. You're in East Germany. You go 3 hours. You go an hour, 2 hours past Munich, and you go directly east. If you're in the west, you're gonna go through Stuttgart, Kaiserslautern, and all that. And if traffic is not too bad, you'll find yourself in France real quick. But I enjoyed Augsburg because they had things that I was looking for. Like there was a certain whiskey called Blanton's I was looking for, and I just couldn't find it. I couldn't find it at all. Got to Augsburg, they had the shorties, they had the liters, they had whatever size you wanted, and the price was cheaper than in the States. In the States, you try to get Blanton's, people try and rip you off. They make it sound like it's never been made before, like you're getting something brand new, like a brand new baby. No, you're getting the same stuff that's made in Kentucky, and it's half the price, if not a third of the price. So in Augsburg, I wanted to go downtown to the main square. I did that. We ate out a lot. and we had some very, very good food. And the Germans tend to feed you like you're an American. They give you a lot of everything. I mean, a lot. So you're gonna enjoy yourself food wise, and the food's good. Now I'm gonna tell you the downside of the food, because see, I wanted bratwurst and other kind of stuff, which is what I like to eat. I'm a meat and potato guy, so fries don't bother me, but I prefer mashed potatoes. But German food in general is great food, but it's a lot of fried food. That's the only negative I could think of when I was there eating, is that everything is fried. And now maybe, and it was that way 40 years ago. You go to a nice little restaurant and you order what you want to order, and then they go give you, and then they're going to give you fried foods. So I kind of expected that, but I just didn't remember everything being fried or grilled. But it was not a big deal. And when you go to Augsburg, go see the churches and stuff. Augsburg is not a big city, but it was. It looked big back in the day. Back when 40 years ago, it looked big, but the population is still the same as it was back then, about 300,000 people at the most. It's just that now it seems like they're more welcoming of tourists than they were before. Before, they were not very welcoming of tourists. And now as far as diversity goes, it's all white. Not all right. It's all white. And I thought by now the Africans or somebody else would have taken over. No, it's still the same way it was back then. But the people are very friendly and very welcoming. Whenever we sat down to eat, we had people coming to us, want to take pictures. Are you American? We had people who wanted to do that. I mean, it made you feel like, okay, they're happy I'm here. I'm happy I'm here. It was no, like I said, Boston made you feel like you're unwelcome. Not in Germany, not in Augsburg. No, they made it sound like, hey, let's have some fun. Like New Orleans. We don't care where you're from. We care where you at. And where we at, and right now where we at is Augsburg. So that's how we viewed it. That's how we took it. We were so happy to be there. They were so happy to have us. And the bottom line is, it was not, at no point did I feel unsafe. I'm talking about day, night, afternoon. At no point did I feel unsafe. And parking the car, Europe is a lot different than the United States. Europe, parking the car is not how much can the government get out of you on taxes. It was all about, okay, we got a parking garage. You can go park in the parking garage, walk around, see everything you want to see. And if you want something, let us know. The people in the stores were so helpful. I mean, I'm talking about they was helpful in every way you can imagine. When I was asking about liquors, not everybody speaks English, like in the country, but for the most part, we didn't care because we had Google Translate. So we didn't care, and the fact that Germans are well educated made it even easier. It's not like going in some parts of America where they're just illiterate, like the Midwest and the South. School is not a priority to them. So it made us feel like, okay, we got it going on here because everybody wants to be, our friend. Some places you go, they're not your friend. You can say because I'm black, I'm white, I'm Puerto Rican, I'm Chinese. No, it doesn't matter. You're not one of them. And when I say one of them, you're not from that particular part of the world or that particular part of the state or that particular part of the country. You're just not them. And they give you that vibe like, okay, the only thing we got in common is that you got green dollars and I want to take them. Yep, everybody's different. But in Augsburg, they made you feel like, hey, if you don't buy anything, we still friends. We're still friends if you don't buy anything. Some places, if you don't buy anything, you become the enemy. And the fact that they don't have what you want doesn't bother them. The fact is, you took up their time and they want to get paid for their time. But in Augsburg, though, nah, you feel at home. I was there in the military and, it was a different environment. because I had friends who did crazy shit in the military to make the Germans hate them. Well, if you do crazy shit in my house, I'm not gonna like you either. So I mean, it just dates and other people. It is what it is. You got guys that some Germans perceive as stealing their wives or stealing their girlfriends or stealing their daughters, or sons or whatever. You had guys who felt that way and they had a right to feel that way. And then you had guys like me who went there because the military said I got to go there, do my time, never cost a crime. I never cost a crime, and I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. But you had some people who just didn't get the hint. They did not get the hint that, hey, if you come here and you live by our rules in our country, you'll be all right. If you come here and you're going to inject your ways of life on my way of life, we got a problem. Some people never, ever understood that part. So my thing to them was, listen, dude, just do your time. Just get out of here in one piece. Don't get me wrong. The German people are very forgiving. And, they got a history that they're not proud of. And we got one that we're not proud of. So it's not like, it was all about them or all about us. No, it was all about doing things the wrong way. But now you go back to Augsburg. Augsburg is one of those cities in Germany that people forget about. It has a lot of things to offer, a lot of places to go, and traffic is moderate. I'm talking about slow traffic. If the speed limit say 40 miles an hour, don't go 45. You're going to get a ticket. I know. And then you got to figure out how to pay a ticket from this country to that country. I know. So my whole point to you is that, Germany has changed a lot. And you probably changed as well. If you didn't, you're throwing your life away because anger and regret and all that is just no way to go. Now, I was at Field Station Augsburg back in the day. We had Field Station Augsburg, we had Sheridan Concern, and we had Flat Concern. But I was not on either one of those two. I was on Reese Concern. And that was where most people in the military intelligence community lived. That's where we did our dirty deeds at. Not we, y'all did. Because I seen a lot of things that I could understand why the Germans are mad. I can understand. But we ate out at some great places, great food. We met new friends. And some of those friends we're going to see again very shortly here. They're going to either come to the States or we're going to go over there. But we're going to go back and visit Augsburg again. Because it's one of those cities that we're like, hey, this is kind of cool. Let's go visit this place again. And now that I'm retired, I can visit all the places again without anybody telling me I got to rush to get in, rush to get out, and see what I want to see. Because we went to the Cinderella Castle, southern Bavaria, and I want to go back because when we went, a lot of things was under construction, but that was last year. But I want to go back and see these things because they're pretty as hell, and I also want to get some drone shots of some of these places that I want to go back and visit. And not knowing the drone rules when you first get a drone can be intimidating because all you see is no, 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 no. But when you read into the fine print, you see a lot of yes, yes, yes. You just didn't see it the first time. Now, when I go back to Augsburg, there are a lot of things that I didn't do the first time or the second time, but now I want to go back because now I have more time to do those things. Before, I did not have time to do those things. Now I do. So now I want to go back and do some of the things that I want to do. But Augsburg is a city that's pretty as hell. And you watch this video, you'll see me walking around Augsburg with my GoPro, and it's just pretty. It's got a lot of things there. And there's no reason why I can't do the things that I want to do outside of time. Because, and I'm going to show you those videos when I go back, because outside of time, money was not the factor. It was strictly time. And hotels were fairly reasonable, but stay at a gas house. Stay at a place that the owner lives there as well. You can stay at a hotel chain, but that's not going to do anything for you though. And then don't stay at an American hotel chain. That just pisses me off when I see people stay at an American hotel chain in a foreign country. No, stay at something you're not used to. But now I say that, but here's the deal. When I say that, the problem is you don't want to stay below your standards. If your standard is IHG or the Marriott or the Hilton or one of those places that you know what you're going to get when you book, stay there. Don't just stay any place just to make it happy or make them happy. But, and I don't always stay in places based on price because I've done that and got burned. IHG burned me in Miami. So when I got to Augsburg, we stayed at local German places that was like kind of like resorts. They were kind of like resorts. So we stayed there and we had a blast. We had a great breakfast included. You want to make sure that your breakfast and other stuff was included in the price. Because I don't want to wake up and have to look for breakfast. Now I do that in some places where I wake up in the morning and I'm thinking I got to find me a breakfast and I got to find it quick. But is it good? Is it affordable? Because see, like I said, I'm not a budget traveler, but I do have a budget. So I do have that stuff. And some people say, oh, well, you got lots of money. It's not the fact that money matters. I'm all about functionality and quality. I want a breakfast that I'm happy with. I want a breakfast that when I get up and I go out all day long, okay, it's time for lunch. But I'm hungry at 12:30. I'm not starving at 9 o'clock. No. So that's the big difference between me and a lot of people. They want to do everything on the cheap. Not me. I want to do everything that's fun. A lot of people in life chase promotions. They chase a lot of different things. And see, that is not me. I chase fun. I want to have fun. If I'm not having fun, I feel like I'm losing life. Because I want to have fun, 100% fun. So when you go to Augsburg, you can have that. Now, you don't need a whole week in Augsburg. I think that 4 days is way more than enough. And I think 4 days can give you time to see what you want to see and wrap things up. New Orleans, 7 days. Boston, 2 days. Atlanta, maybe 4 days. So it all depends on what you want to do and what you want to get wrapped up. But I want to see everything that I want to see in the area. I went from Augsburg to New Ulm, back to Augsburg. And sometimes I look at these old military bases that I used to know when I was in the military, which wasn't very long compared to some people nowadays, because I did my 6.5 years or 7 years in the military. But I want to go and have just fun. You're not going to live forever. You can buy a lot of things in life, but you can't buy time. And so I went to Augsburg to see what life was like in my early 20s. I wanted to see what it was like in my early 20s, and I was happy as hell. I was happy as hell because I'm like, you know what? The city has moved forward, and their people have moved forward, and everything's moved forward. So I'm glad with that. There's no regrets I have at all. And when I used to live there, I went to a place that I ate at 40 years ago. And I had Wiener Schnitzel and bratwurst. The food tastes the same to me. And now my palate and taste buds is aged by 40 years. It tastes the same today as it did then. I was totally in shock. I'm like, holy hell. This is the same food I remember. And not only that, the owner back when I went 40 years ago, her daughter runs it. And I remember when this daughter of hers was in diapers because she's running around delivering the Cokes and delivering the drinks. And I said, give me a Spicer. She gave me one. I'm like, holy hell. It looked the same as she delivering it as her mother did. That was kind of cool. I'm like, this is kind of cool. I don't have anybody here or in the rest of the world that 40 years later, their family is still running everything. And not only that, it was a full park. It was kind of like a beer park. It was full as hell. I'm like, this is awesome. This is how it should be done. This is how it should be done. But in my travels, I'm going to take you through the world. You just got to subscribe and tune in. I'm going to take you through the world so you can see Asia, Europe, South America, North America. And, I'm going to take you through the world where you can see things that you have never seen. And you can make a decision. I'm never going to ask you to pay me to listen to me. I'm not in that situation. A lot of people retire early and do all kinds of things, and they don't have the money to just give you content. I am going to give you content, and I'm not asking for anybody to subscribe. I'm not asking for anybody to do Patreon. I'm not asking for any of that. No, just check me out, and then you tell me, hey man, I went there. It was that way. If you go there based on what I say and it wasn't that way, you went the wrong way. So this is your boy, the Old School Travelers, out.